we'll get started. First question will come from Greg Allman.
Hey, Coach. Welcome back. Congrats on the big win. First, I was just trying to see if there were any injuries to speak of coming out of the game. I saw where Will Goldstone only played one snap on defense. I was curious whether he had something come up or that was just the way the game shook out.
No, it's kind of the way the game shook out, especially in the second half. But injury-wise, we got in a little late, so people are trickling in late. Don't have any reports right now.
Okay, Todd, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go to Jenna Lee.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much for doing this. Sorry for the delay there. Just what can you say about the effort that your entire team put together yesterday? It seemed like it was arguably one of your most complete games of the season.
It was definitely one of our most complete games. All three phases helped out in the victory. I thought those guys had great energy coming out, something we talked about before the game. They really came out in the second half with even greater energy, and they finished the game on both sides of the ball, so that was good.
I know Sterling Shepard had said about, I think I've mentioned this to you, but about just kind of preparing your guys in training camp for whatever adversity might happen in season, right? Like, you never know what it's going to be. You never know what position group is going to get hit particularly hard with injuries, but just kind of getting them that early on kind of in the mindset of, okay, something's going to happen this season where we're really going to be challenged and pressed. And just can you speak to the importance of kind of doing that as a coach and how that may have helped you this year? Because, I mean, you guys had a lot of injuries on defense.
I mean, as a coach, it's huge. You know something's going to happen. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be something that goes wrong. There's going to be something off the field that goes wrong. But preparing for it and then understanding it and taking the body blows as part of football is something you have to do as an athlete and definitely as a coach. So we prepare for it. We talk about it. We practice that way. We practice with guys that's one step away from playing, and everybody understands the mission once they get in there. And those guys have done a great job of filling in when they got their chances.
Thank you.
We'll go to John Romano.
Hey, Todd, you've got several players on offense, Barton, Bucky, McMillan, that are rookies. A little less so on defense, but Tyke's playing a lot. Could you just talk about the way, the method you go about working younger players into the lineup and whether you have to make accommodations for them throughout the year?
The way the league is going right now, coming out of college, you don't get the luxury of sitting everybody for a year or two behind somebody else. So you got to kind of draft guys. If you're drafting 7 guys, at least 4 of them better be significant players right now, and the other 3 better have a skill set for either the near future or something down the line. And, you know, we start training them from day one to be professional for their moment, not to be too big for them during the season, put them in different situations and practice all day long. Nothing like playing in the games, but they get those situations, they see the guys in front of them, and we figure by mid-season, you know, we went through some trials and tribulations the first couple of weeks before our bye, and afterwards they matured, they're finishing plays, they're doing everything the right way, and it's helping pay off. So our coaches do a great job of getting these guys ready.
So would that have something to do with the fact that the team plays better in December, that these guys are sort of grown up by now?
I wish I could say it does. I would like to think we learned from our mistakes. I think a lot of it's from the mistakes we had in the first half of the season. I think they've matured and grown up through injury or otherwise. Those guys got to play a lot more, and their confidence has grown, and they're really fitting in and finding their roles within the team right now, and they're settling in playing good football.
Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Todd, I jumped in just a little bit late here, but have you addressed the play of Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke against their pass rushers yet?
No, I haven't, not yet. They've been doing a good job the past couple of weeks, especially Tristan and Luke. Luke's been doing a great job all year. Ever since he's come back from his injury, he's been very stout for us on the right side of the line. Seems like Tristan plays better if he's not healthy than he is when he is healthy. Not that he's played bad when he was healthy, but his concentration, his focus, his understanding of what's getting ready to happen and what he has to do for his job. Those 2 guys have done a heck of a job for us.
Can you also speak to just, it's one thing, and as a defensive-minded head coach and play caller, to have to face that elite offensive tackle, it's kind of rare the teams have two, but that's what you guys seem to have in the bookends with Tristan and Luke.
Well, we're trying to be a complete team. We're working on it. We got two very good tackles, we feel, and we feel like our interior is very good as well. So those guys play together. They practice hard. They understand each other. They understand the mission. They're having fun this year. Luke and Tristan are very close. They train together in the off season, and I think they're both doing an outstanding job.
And one more for you, if I could. With young players like Vi Jones and Kayvon Merriweather teaming up on that takeaway, the forced fumble by Vi and then the recovery by Kayvon Merriweather, what can that do for a young player's confidence to make a splash play like that? I know as coaches, you like to see them just do the little things right, but to have, to play a role in their young careers in a takeaway like that, what does that do for a young player's confidence?
Well, it's 2 weeks in a row for Kayvon. He almost had one last week and then getting one this week. For Vi, it just builds his confidence even more and more. Kayvon's had a little bit more playing time, but just as confident, and he's playing a big role for us right now, and I think he's doing great.
Thanks, Todd.
Greg Allman.
Todd, you guys have talked about how important the line of scrimmage is and physicality of the line of scrimmage with any Harbaugh team. You guys use that 4 defensive line look, that 6-man front. Usually it's like a goal line package, but you used it in some 1st and 10 and some midfield. And then your tight ends. I think you had 49 snaps from your backup tight ends, a couple 13 personnel type snaps. Just want to ask you about the importance of having extra bodies on the line in a game like this on Sunday.
Well, they had a 290-pound tight end and a 290-pound fullback, so it was almost like it was goal line. So certain situations, we had to put bigger guys down there in order to try to slow these guys down. So it kind of fit what we did at the time, and then offensively, at the same time, we got guys with Cole Keefe. He's a heck of a blocker, and we got different packages. And you start to incorporate these guys in, trying to do different things and let them do what they can do well so they can succeed.
Mara Carey.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on the win. In the first half, there were turnovers on back-to-back drives, an interception, and a fumble. In the past, we've seen mistakes kind of take a domino effect. What can you say about the team's ability to maybe not let the errors get to them and fall into that trap and instead bounce back with such an authoritative win?
We've matured. That happened the first half of the season. We didn't react so well, and now we react very well to it, and we don't let it stop us on what we're trying to do. And those guys have matured, and they can correct their mistakes now, and that's the big part of how we've gotten so good.
Jonathan.
Hey, Coach. When this was something you could really see when Brady first got here, and it's continued even after his retirement. But some teams in the league will just kind of be stagnant throughout the year, and sometimes even decline as the season goes on, as injuries kind of take their toll. But your team last year, same thing. There's that late season or even mid-season kind of ascent. What is key to that happening? Do you think with teams it's a big function of coaching and self-scouting? Is it players holding each other accountable and kind of their internal leadership? What has to happen for teams to be able to consistently do that every year?
Well, for us, I know especially the last 2 years, we've been playing a lot of younger guys, and our veterans on the team do a great job of holding these guys accountable. We know they're going to make some mistakes in the beginning of the season and the first half of the season, but the second half of the season, we expect these guys to come around. They'll be seasoned. They understand how to be pros. They understand how to play through injuries. They understand the assignment, and they understand the scheme that we're trying to pull off. So I think it's the maturity of the players, the young guys. It's the maturity of the vets that's helping them along, and the coaching staff does a great job getting these guys ready to play. I think it's all the above. I can't speak for everybody else in the league, but for our team, that has a big part to do with it.
And then I know that there was kind of that lull there against the Raiders, or you have some in-game lulls, but to be able to be a team that in the third and fourth quarter, really like the fourth quarter, to be able to clamp down on an opponent, just what is happening in your halftime, and some of the adjustments you guys may be making as coaches that is allowing your team to really be at their best when a game is on the line and when you really need to pull ahead?
The halftime adjustments are great. I think it starts in practice because we practice situational football and end of half and end of game so much. It's starting to register with a lot more guys, and as a group, they're talking more on the field and they're executing a lot better in the second half.
Thank you.
John Romano.
Hey, Todd. A lot of the players have mentioned that a few weeks ago you sort of challenged them, saying that every game from here on out is like a playoff game. Is there sort of an art to gauging the mood of a team and knowing when is the time to say, okay, this is the moment you guys have got to turn it around, that, we don't have any time left, or how do you decide when to push that button?
Well, you should always have a gauge of your team, good or bad. You should always kind of know what you're walking into. And for me, it really wasn't a button to push. I mean, it was for real. We meant every word we said. It was playoff time. We lose 1 or 2 games, we're out. So we understand we had to run the table and take it game by game. And those guys understood that, especially the ones that were here last year. So you pick and choose as a coach, and you get a feel for your team, what you need to say, how you need to say it, to who and to whom. So we kind of go from there as a staff. You got to have a real good feel for your team, though, in order to do those type of things.
We have time for a few more. We'll go JC Allen.
Todd, yesterday Luke and Tristan held that vaunted pass rush that they have over there with the Chargers to just Bosa and Mac to just 2 pressures on 48 pass rushes. Just talk about the play of those guys if you can, and how they set the tone for everybody else on the team and on that offensive line when they're taking care of all pros and potential Hall of Famers down the line.
Well, they definitely lead the way up there. Again, it goes back to their off season and training together. They do a heck of a job getting to know each other and understanding what they're seeing. They talk about when they switch sides, when the defensive guys switch sides, what kind of moves they were doing on them. They talk about run fits. They talk about everything, and those guys go out and execute. They love playing the game. They're both warriors. They play it the right way, and when those guys get going, it's hard to beat them.
It's you look at Tampa, and of course it's considered a small market team and not a lot of national attention, and that's why guys like Levante and Mike Evans are finally started to get their credit after so long of being 2 of the best at that position. But some of these other guys, when it comes to Pro Bowl voting and kind of recognition, like when you look at a guy like Cody Mock who's having a Pro Bowl type of season, what do you kind of say to these guys that you might not get the outside recognition, but hey, like you're doing it?
Yeah, you get the inside recognition, and we're playing for the Super Bowl, not the Pro Bowl. If you happen to get the nod, so be it. As good as your team does, the recognition will come. We're starting to play pretty good football, so those guys are starting to get noticed.
Last question will come from Greg Allman.
Todd, I want to hit you with a few more injury questions. Marquise Watts is coming up on the end of his 21-day window to return from IR. I think Wednesday's the deadline. Do you know if you guys think you can get him back, or whether he'll just revert to IR?
I hadn't made that decision yet. I still got to get the injury report and go through things, and we'll assess it going forward. I know we don't have a lot of time, but we'll see what happens with the injury report.
Sure, and then I know it's probably too early to tell, but when they check on Britt and Edwards and whether you thought they were in play to return and play on Sunday?
Until I see him out on the field running, Mike might be ahead of KJ, but at the same time, I'm not sure where he is.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we have. Thanks, Coach.